Eugene Debs was one of the great voices against World War I, as well as being a railroad organizer, and he's very also famous as a socialist. He ran for president 5 times. 5 times. He reminds me of Ralph Nader in many ways. He ran under different party names, just like Ralph Nader. I'm not saying the two are that similar, but I see those parallels. On June 16th, Debs had a lot of famous speeches. He eventually went to trial for the speech that you're about to hear. And even in that trial, I was reading through the text today, and there's some beautiful speeches. Anyway, on June 16, 1918, Debs made a speech in Canton, Ohio, urging resistance to the military draft for World War I. He was arrested on June 30th and charged with 10 counts of sedition. We're now going to hear that speech.
Sam Johnson declared that patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel. He must have had this Wall Street gentry in mind, or at least their prototypes, for in every age it has been the tyrant, the oppressor, and the exploiter who has wrapped himself in the cloak of patriotism, or religion, or both, to deceive and overawe the people. Every solitary one of these aristocratic conspirators and would-be murderers claim to be an arch-patriot. Every one of them insists that the war is being waged to make the world safe for democracy. What humbug, what rot, what false pretense. These autocrats, these tyrants, these red-handed robbers and murderers of patriots, while the men who have the courage to stand face to face with them speak the truth and fight for their exploited victims. They are the disloyalists and traitors. If this be true, I want to take my place side by side with the traitors in this fight. Wars throughout history have been waged for conquest and plunder. In the Middle Ages, when the feudal lords who inhabited the castles, whose towers may still be seen along the Rhine, concluded to enlarge their domains, to increase their power, their prestige, and their wealth, they declared war upon one another. But they themselves did not go to war any more than the modern feudal lords, the barons of Wall Street, go to war. The feudal barons of the Middle Ages, the economic predecessors of the capitalists of today, declared all wars, and their miserable serfs fought all the battles. The poor, ignorant serfs had to be taught to revere their masters, to believe that when their masters declared war upon one another, it was their patriotic duty to fall upon one another and to cut one another's throats for the profit and glory of the lords and barons who held them in contempt. And that is war in a nutshell. The master class has always declared the wars. The subject class has always fought the battles. The master class has had all to gain and nothing to lose, while the subject class has had nothing to gain and all to lose, especially their lives. They have always taught and trained you to believe it to be your patriotic duty to go to war, to have yourselves slaughtered at their command. But in all the history of the world, you, the people, have never had a voice in declaring war. And strange as it certainly appears, no war by any nation in any age has ever been declared by the people. And here let me emphasize the fact, and it cannot be repeated too often, that the working class who fight all the battles, the working class who make the supreme sacrifices, the working class who freely shed their blood and furnish the corpses, have never yet had a voice in either declaring war or making peace. It is the ruling class that invariably does both. They alone declare war, and they alone make peace. Yours not reason why, yours but to do and die. That is their motto, and we object on the part of the awakening workers of this nation. If war is right, let it be declared by the people.